strangest pickup you've got, Ethan. Ethan wrote in there, he put a 20-foot sectional patio set into a Honda Civic. That was his interesting thing. All right. So let's get started. So what we're doing today is we're going to review primary trig real quick, and then go on to word questions using primary trig. So the very first block here, we're not doing anything new. We're just going to put it in perspective, put it in context. All right, so where's my mouse here? So let's review this. And hopefully everyone has a piece of paper, pencil, or something like that on their desk in front of them or something like that on the table, so we can kind of review. So the very first thing, HOA and theta. Let's say this is 10 and this is x, okay? What three things do I have on this triangle right now? Can anyone tell me in chat? What three things do I have? You can just name one of them too. You can say the hypotenuse is this, the adjacent's this. Just name one of them. Hypotenuse is 10. Remember, the hypotenuse is across from the 90. The opposite is x. Very good. Opposite side. Remember, adjacent is always the one that's touching the angle. Opposite hypotenuse. And my theta is 30. Now, which one are we going to use? So, ka, or toa? What do we think here? Knowing that we have the O and the H. SOHCAHTOA, right? We're using so because there's an O and an H there. And then we can set it up as, we write it as usual, sine theta equals O over H. Now we're just going to plug in everything we know. O over H is x over 10. Now we need to isolate this. So this is divide on this side, we move it over, it becomes a multiply. Okay, so I want you to type that into your calculator and find me the answer. You can type it in chat when you have it. I'm just going to pull up last week's trig table. Because if you don't have a calculator, you can always use your trig table. And I should pull up an Apple calculator. No one's got the answer for me yet? Where's my chat? 5's the answer? Really? I got a whole number? Sweet. So, if we're doing an Apple calculator, we can go 10 times 30 sine equals 4.9, which should be 5. If I'm using my scientific calculator or something like this, I could go 10 times sine 30, which equals 5. Or if I'm using a trig table, I would, so sine's my first column here, I go down to 30 degrees, 0.5, so I go 0.5 times 10 equals 5. All right. How do we feel about that out of 10? Comfortableness with that? Out of 10, how do we feel? Type in chat how you feel out of 10 for me, please, and thank you. Good. Oh, I wrote it at 10. Usually it's out of 5. All right. Do you guys want to do another? Let's do another question. All right. Let's make another triangle here. There we go. Let's say that's a 90-degree for argument's sake. And then we have an X here, a 15, and a 12. Okay? So, theta. So what do we have here this time? Who can tell me what my H is, my O is, my A is, or my theta is? Yeah, my unknown's theta. What else do we have? Adjacent's 15. Good. Adjacent's always touching the same side as the, right? And O is 12. Good. And this here would be my hypotenuse. Good. So which one are we going to use? Or you use so, oops, ka, or toa, knowing that we have these two. Which one are we going to use? So, ka, or toa? Toa. Perfect. Right? So that's tan theta equals O over A. Right? The O and the A kind of line up as they say. Then tangent theta. Perfect. So we're going to plug everything in. Tan x equals 12 over 15. So tan x equals, what's that? 4 over 5? Or 0.8, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So how we solve from here, now, we can do it one of 3 ways. Well, 2 ways. We could go tan -1 times 0.8, like such. So if we have one of the calculators, for the example, this one, I would go 12 divided by 15 equals that. And then just go second function tan, so oops, second function that equals what's 38.7? 38.7 x equals, okay? If I was using a calculator like this, I would still go 12 divided by 15, get 0.8. Second function, tan -1, same answer. Then the last thing you could do, if you don't have a calculator, which is perfectly fine, we're looking at 0.8. That's the number we're looking for. And we go to our trig table here. Oops. Now tangent's the very last one. I'm going to go down here in this last column until I find 0.8. And 0.8 is around 39 degrees, which makes sense there. That's 38.7, 39 degrees. Okay. What are we out of 5 for that one? How do we feel about doing that question out of 5? And Andreas, I really want to see from you, just so I know how we feel going forward with this, since you missed Friday.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay, no worries. Did you do trig before Andreas? Like last year?
Yeah, possibly, but like it was when we went into like lockdown and no one really did anything.
Okay. Well, I'll go over the notes from last week for this. Okay. I'll send you a package. Okay. And then I'll just adjust your expectation for maybe you don't do word problems. You won't have word problems on your assessment for 90-degree trig. Okay. You'll just be responsible for doing regular problems, regular questions.
All
right. Okay. So, and this will help you kind of get what we're doing anyways. Like when we're doing word problems, it's gonna be a little bit harder, but not that difficult. It's not gonna take away from what you're gonna learn later. Okay, so the big thing here is always draw a diagram, okay, whenever you do a word problem. Now, 2 words you're gonna see is angle of elevation. Let's highlight it. Angle of elevation and angle of depression. So, this reminds me. Tessa, did you make that person in your PowerPoint? Or did you find that person? Like, where did that person in your PowerPoint come from? That's my question for Tessa.
I had it on my phone already.
Okay, where did you get it from? Because it's like exactly you.
Oh, like it's a Bitmoji. It's on it's on like Apple devices. Like yeah, I made them.
Oh, I looked at it. I'm like, oh my god, she either like found or made like a avatar that is her.
Yeah, I made it.
Because it looks just like you, and even like dressed like
yeah.
Like has somewhat the same dressing as you.
Yeah.
Dressing is the wrong word. You're not a salad, but. Okay, so depression, elevation. So I always think of depression, elevation. Imagine like you're looking out straight. Okay. If I were to look up, the angle between middle and up is my angle of elevation. Okay. My angle of depression would be from straight down. And it just reminded me, Tessa, because I was drawing a horrible person here, and how impressed I was with your person in your presentation. So, elevation up, depression down, and always think about it as if you're looking straight out, and that's like the even plane there, right there. And then if you look down, that's depression. If you're looking up, it's elevation. But it's somewhat tricky. I'll show you. I'll pull up a question later on. That'll be a little bit tricky. So I'm not going to start you off here. I want you to try to draw this out. I'm going to read it over, and then I'm going to attempt to get you. I'm going to let you draw it, and then we'll see if it matches. Okay. So JP is standing 8.1 meters from the flagpole, from my flagpole. His eyes are 1.7 meters above the ground. The top of the flagpole has an angle of elevation of 35 degrees. How tall is the flagpole? So I want you to draw a little diagram for me. I'll give you a minute there to draw your diagram. Okay. Oops. I'm going to do attendance here real quick. Tessa's here. Ben I've seen. Brand I've seen. Riley?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Andreas, I've seen. If I don't remember you, I scroll up and down my attendance, my attendees list. Abigail, I've seen. Abigail, you have really nice. First time I've noticed your middle name. Laura G is here. Ethan's here. Gabe Briel is not. Granocene. Covets is not. Me, I've seen. Logan, I've seen. Haley, Olivia, Andreas. Jackson. Saw Jackson's name. Yeah. San Vito. Yeah. Good. Okay. So, has everyone done their diagram or their best shot at this diagram? There, we'll draw the maple leaf flag here because after tonight we may not need that flag anymore, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depends how you look at it. So we have an individual here, okay? And they're looking up at that flagpole, okay? And the angle of elevation is 35 degrees. So that means this angle in here is at 35, and he's standing 8.1 meters away. And you're looking for, oh, and this here is 1.7 from here to here. Okay, and we're looking for this height up here. Now, generally what I do is I draw the diagram and then I take that out of, I take that triangle out of my diagram so I can see it a little more clearly. So it looks like just a regular word problem here. 8.1 and H. Okay. How did everyone's diagram go? Put a put a G in chat if you're good. Put a M in chat like you got part of it, or put it like an N in chat if you got none of it. So G for good. I got a good. M, I got part. I don't know why I just didn't make that. Okay. Okay. So a lot of these word questions are just practice of like drawing the diagram and then working it out from there. So now it's a regular problem, right? So let's label our triangle first. And I'm going to go through this to help out people. So H is our hypotenuse. So hypotenuse is always across from the 90. So that's my hypotenuse. I always do adjacent first. Adjacent is the side that is beside the angle. So that is my adjacent. And then my opposite is the side that's opposite the angle. So we're there. Then I fill in my information. Theta is the angle, so that's going to be 35. My adjacent is 8.1. And my opposite is my H. Then I take a look here at SOHCAHTOA, and I'm going to look at what two letters I have. So I have O and I have A. So I look here and I say, okay, which one of these two have an O and A? So who can tell me which one I want to use here?
TOA.
TOA, good. Perfect. Then we set it up. I like to write it out first. So tan theta equals O over A. Then we plug everything in that we know. Tan 35 equals H over 8.1. Now we need the H all by itself, so we're going to move this over. What does the 8.1 become on the other side? Since it's a divide on this side, when it comes over, what does it become? Who can tell me what the 8.1 becomes on the other side? Good. It becomes a multiply, opposite, right? It's a divide on this side, comes over, becomes a multiply. We plug that into our calculator. Andreas, what kind of calculator do you have?
The one you told me to download.
Oh, same one I have here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So 8.1 times tan 35 should get me 5.7. Is anyone having difficulty getting that as their answer? Was everyone able to get 5.7? Now, if I was using my trig table, I would go tangents my last column. I go down to 35 degrees. I get 0.7002. I would go 0.7002 times 8.1, which is going to give me the same answer. Now, is my flagpole 5.7 degrees? I mean 5.7 meters, yes or no? Is my flagpole 5.7 meters? Is that a hard yes or a hard no? Do, 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 do. No one's got an answer for me? Or is that people just afraid to answer? Is my flagpole 5.7 meters tall? It's going to be a long day if we just sit here. You don't know? All right, well, look at what we solved for. We solved for this triangle, right? So this part here is 5.7, right? But we also remember our gentleman or person here is also 1.7 meters tall. So we have to add these two together to get the total height. Not to say my diagram was not the scale, but it leaves something desired. So this would be 1.7 plus 5.7, which equal what, 7.4? Then we write on the next statement. Therefore, I almost did an emoji instead of writing flagpole. 7.4 meters tall. Okay, I'll leave it there. Tell me when you're all done writing if you're following along with me. All right, I'm going to slide down here. So the next question here, I'm going to do the same thing. A hot air balloon is attached to a 95-meter long rope that rises from a platform when the length of the rope is fully extended. Sam, who is in the basket, estimates the angle of depression to where the rope is staked to the ground is 55 degrees. Okay, so I want you to try to draw that out for me. Okay. Oh, there's a good one. All right, tell me when you're all done drawing out that diagram. You think you're all done. Come on. Put a T in chat if you want some more time to draw your diagram. Okay? So I'm going to assume everybody's done drawing the diagram. So here is my balloon. Here's my platform. Okay? So I'm going to draw a rope from my balloon to my platform. Okay? Now we know that is 95 long. Okay? Now we know we made an estimation that is 55 degrees was my angle of depression. So if I was looking straight out, in order to look down, I have to look down 55 degrees. Okay? So there's two ways you can do this question. You could make this triangle here like such. Okay? This being 95 here, this being a right angle, and this being 55 here. Okay? Or I could think about it like this, right? Now, if that's a 90, I have to go for this angle here. I'd have to go 90 minus 55, which would equal, what's that, 35 degrees? So that'd be 35 in there. Okay, I'm just showing you two ways to think about this. This would be 35, and this would be 95. Okay. This was the black one's probably the easier one to work with, but it wouldn't be wrong to work with this one because the height here would match the height here because it's the height there, right? Okay. How do we do with that? With that one, let's go G for good, P for parts right, and N for none right. E, where did E come from? I'm confused by Farley's E. Okay. So, the better question is, do we understand it? Like after I draw it, you're like, oh, now I see it, or are we totally lost? So put an L in chat if you're totally lost still, or like S in chat if you think you see it once I draw it. So Farley sees it, Haley sees it. Okay. So I don't have anyone 100% lost, which is good. All right. So now let's work through this. How far did the balloon drift horizontally? So, I already told you this was height. Okay. So these two are height. So the other one is going to be distance. Okay. So we're looking for our distance here. There's an N in there. So did anyone, I can do both of these. Okay. Just concentrate on the one you're going to work on. So we're looking for distance here. So I'm going to erase this. So let's go HOA theta. Okay. I'll work through the black one first here. So my hypotenuse is going to be 95. My adjacent is going to be my unknown. Let's use D for example here. I use D for there. That's the wrong one. There we go. And my angle is 55. So what am I going to use for this one? So, ka, or toa? So, ka, or toa? Which one am I going to use for the black one? Good. Cosine. Good, because it has an A and H, right? A and H cosine, so it's going to be cos theta equals A over H. And cos, plug everything, 55 equals over 95. Okay, I'll leave you to figure that out. I'm going to move over here and do this one. Oops, 95, yeah. This is going to be D. And this is going to be 35. Oh, sorry. This is D. Good. So this one would be sine theta equals O over H. Sine 35 equals D over 95. Okay, who has an answer for this one? Is AD here? Yes. Does that make sense, Mia? My adjacent is D. I use D for distance instead of X as a variable. Well, you could use X as well. But distance is, that's what we're trying to find. Like I could have erased this and just made this X and X. Just a variable I use to decide. Okay. So this one here is going to turn to 95 times cos 55 equals X. This one here is going to turn into 95 times sine 35 equals, in this case, D. If I plug that in my calculator, 95 times cos 55, 54.5. And this one here, the other one should be the same. 95 times sine 35, exact same. How do we feel about that question? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Yeah, I can scroll down, just touch, yeah. So the hardest part of these questions is just drawing the diagram. Because once you draw a diagram, it's just a regular trig question. And if you have your trig, if you have your notes from self from last week, there's only 3 types of trig questions we can ask. What's that mean, Logan? What's AS star? Yosen, do you want to tell me when you're all done? Okay. Does anyone in class play disc golf? I know it's a weird question. No, you have before. Nice job, Riley. My son really enjoys it, so we go out in the morning. We went down the riverside and played 9 holes this morning prior to class starting. Fine. So the next question is, how high is the balloon? Okay, so I'm just going to take the black one. Did anyone use the purple one? Right, purple, if you use the purple one, your original calculation. If anyone did, then I can keep using it. So that's 95. That's 55. Logic says that's 35 now. And this is what, 54.5? So now we need to find this side here, the height. Okay? There's a couple different strategies to use this, okay? We could use SOHCAHTOA, right? So I could go HOA theta, and I'm going to erase this 35 just so it doesn't confuse us. Okay? So H is 95. Now I know my adjacent is 54.5. I don't know my opposite, so that's going to be my H value. Okay? I know this is 55. So we could either use tangent or I could use sine. Oops. Can anyone tell me a different strategy about how I could solve this? Okay, thanks, Ben. Can anyone tell me a third strategy I could use to solve this? This is a strategy you've learned before, but we haven't reviewed this year. Okay. So we know how we could use these ones, right? We go tan 55 equals H over 54.5, which would turn into 54.5 like this. And the same thing would happen over here. Sine 55 equals H over 95, 95 bracket sine 55. So those two things could happen, but also you have a right angle triangle. So you use Pythagorean theorem. This being C, this being A, this being B. If you looked up to my wonderful notes to self here, I wrote in here Pythagorean theorem if you want to find A, B, or C. Okay, so you could, in this case, go, this being B, B squared equals A squared. What am I doing? C squared minus A squared, which is 95 squared minus 54.5 squared. And whenever you get your answer there, you're going to square both sides. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Once you see it? $6054. So you should have got an answer of 77.8. Is that the answer you guys got over here as well? Did anyone run these calculations for it? Yep. So you can see there's like 3 ways to solve this question. And they're all right because they get the same answer. Okay. Yosein, tell me when you're done writing. Okay. Okay. Now you're good to go. You should be good to go for today. If I look at your homework, week 4 homework, you can see I put the outline in there, your homework file as well. There are 10 questions for you to do. Okay. Now what I would do is when you go to do these questions, draw the diagram and then check your solutions real quick to make sure you have your diagram right. Okay. Don't look at the math, look real quick and say, okay, do I have diagram correct? Yes or no? Just so you can get used to drawing diagrams along those lines. Okay. Does anyone want to do another question? Put a yes in chat if you want to do another practice question, and we can even do one of the homework questions. If not, you're good to go. Let's say we come back at 11. Okay. Andreas, do you have a printer at home, or what are you working off of right now? Or when I email you, where do you go?
My computer, yeah, I have a printer.
Okay, you don't need a printer, but I'll send you right now. I'll send you email right now with what we did. I think it was Friday morning. No, last Thursday morning, whatever it was. The primary trig lesson we did, but it's all like stepped out with like little steps to kind of build up how to get there.
All right.
Okay, that way you kind of you'll be able to build up with it quite easy. I think quite easily. I think hopefully it'll be the same lesson everyone else did. Is Tessa still here?
I don't know.
Where's Tessa? She ran away on me. You don't have to do every single problem, Olivia and Dominic. Make sure you know what you're doing, right? I said like do at least 5 and get like the last 3 correct in a row, right? And at worst, you could, if you're understanding it and you get it after you do your 5, draw the next 5 diagrams and double check them. I can't send, I think the word problems, I only have it as a PDF, Yosan. Are you trying to print it, Yosan? Are you on a computer, Yosan? Or like a tablet? Now, Yosan, if you go to, can you double click on, you see how there's a PDF, like a little document thing above where, like this? If you double click that, it will open up in Adobe Reader, and then you could print from there. Tell me if that works for you. Okay. Okay. All right, where is Andreas? So Abigail, are you listening, Abigail? Okay, you were gone on Friday, weren't you?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I will send you the same email I am Andreas. Work your way through with that. Does that make sense, Abigail?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll work from there. Okay. Abigail and Andreas. Unless you guys want to work with me right now, Abigail and Andreas. Unless you guys want to work through it right now with me, or would you rather have the YouTube videos to kind of go at your own pace?
I don't care. I'll probably work with you.
Okay, maybe we'll work together online right now. Is that okay, Abigail, or do you want to do it off like by yourself at your own time?
I'll work with you as well.
Okay.